Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, Rusty Garage. And today, we have a rust bucket of a four-wheeler. This is a 1989. These are not spoken of very often. Everybody goes for Yamaha, or Honda I should say. But these things are tough as nails. They've always been tough, especially the older ones. I've had them before. So I just wanted to interrupt this video for a second, because I don't feel like I properly explained the history on this bike. Like I said, this was my father's bike, and I want to say he sold this when I was about 19. So here's my age. That was about 11 years ago. So that would be what, 2015, right around there. I think he sold it. 2013, 14, 15. I think he sold it, and he sold it to a guy with my old 91. This one's an 89. So, and we know for a fact that that guy was screwing around the carb and everything, and he couldn't get it to run right. So, anyway, long story short, he took the 91 carb off my old bike, and we're pretty fairly certain he threw it on this one. So, he had it for probably a year, never got this thing running, so it sat around. He sold both machines to his brother. And his brother used it maybe once, twice maybe, I don't know. It sat in the field, it sat in the grass. I want to say this thing sat at least 9, 8, 10 years. It just sat, grass around it, grass was up to here, it just sat there. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, because for this thing to actually fire is pretty remarkable in itself. Now going back to the whole carb thing, Yamaha done a lot of changes very quickly. So the 91 carb, now I didn't do any research on this, so the 89 to 91, they look the same, but they may have changed the fuel jet. They may have changed, you know, maybe it's a slightly bigger jet, and maybe that's why she's running so rich. It's hard to say. When you look this stuff up, you can't find anything that accurate. So we determined in the video that it's probably most likely a carb issue. So that's what I'm leaning towards. So I just wanted to throw that in there. That's how long this has been sitting. Now, I went ahead and ordered a new carb kit for this bike. You can't get a new carb for this bike. They don't make them anymore. I had to call Yamaha. No, I didn't go on the Amazon Rainforest and order one, or eBay. No, I went, they special ordered it for me. So it's on its way. Like I said, this has been a few days since this video has even been made. I've been busy, but so it's on its way. But we're gonna try something today, since I've been thinking about it and I got a couple minutes here. We're gonna try something, because we know this guy was messing around with this carb, so we're not sure exactly what the difference is, but there's a difference. So without further ado, let's get back to the video. This one in particular has quite a big issue. Got quite a big problem. Besides all the normal bearings and rust and whatever, but that we're not worried about that right now. That's minor compared to, you know, what's going on with it. So this thing has a huge loss of power, and I've already been through all the different avenues of what it could be, what it might be. For instance, I went through the timing to make sure that the timing was right, because it seems like the timing wasn't right. It had no power going down the road. Didn't matter. First gear was like fifth gear. You know, you're just barely bogging along. Wouldn't rev out at all. So I checked the timing. The timing was spot on. The chain was perfect. No slapping to it. It's not loose. And after that, I went to the valves. And the valves were a little bit out of spec, so I put them in spec with Yamaha guides from the 1989 Big Bear. So that wasn't the issue. It still ran the exact same. So I thought, well, maybe, you know, it's the original carburetor, right? And I hate to throw away these original carburetors. They don't make them for this particular machine anymore. It's too old. And to get an aftermarket one that you might be able to jerry rig and make work, it's not going to work very good. I took this carb off, I cleaned it. It looked fairly good to me. I sent it away to somebody that was professional, and he said, hey, the carb's great. I cleaned it up. It was already good and clean. The carb's not your problem. I said, okay. So I put it all back together, and I was sitting there scratching my head. That was months ago, and it's been sitting here ever since. Until the other day, I was watching the old Mind Melter, if you know what I mean, and it just came to me. I said, well, what about CDI, the CDI box? If you guys are familiar with the CDI box, it could definitely be a loss of power, because it could definitely act like it's out of timing. And it could also be a loss of spark and crap like that. So what happens, this will start, and it'll start fine, but it runs like crap. So what the CDI also can do as a problem would be that the ignition timing, it will not be correct, which is why I initially went for to check the timing. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to locate the CDI box, and Yamaha was very generous. And Yamaha was very generous when they made these, because seemed like every year they changed the style of CDI box. So that's great. I love that for me. So, and over here I have the 98. It's not the same. So don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. It's not the same. It's not going to work. Oh, Google said it won't work. So you got to trust Google, right? I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, and over here in this big pile of garbage, I have a 1991. It came with that one 4 parts. And on the front of this one is another CDI, which, guess what? It's not the same. Go figure, right? But so what we're going to be doing, but the whole plan is locate the CDI. I'm pretty sure it's right under here. We're going to locate it. We're going to test it. No, let's back up. I'm going to take it off. Then we're going to test it. And see if, if the CDI is good, then I'm really at a loss. And I don't know what the hell's wrong with this bike if it comes to that. But if it is the CDI, I think it's supposed to read between 0.2 ohms and 3, maybe, something like that. And that's good. So if that's not reading correctly, then we're going to take a chance. We're going to take the CDI off the parts bike and chuck it on here and see what happens. So let's do that. So just a little walk around of the unit. This thing is in hard shape. She's beaten up. She's been well used and abused. This thing was used for home wood. From home wood to pleasure, you name it, this thing's been used. It's been maybe a little tickle of a bump right here. You can see that bumper is bent in. That's, that's fine. And it might be a little rusty, but that's just, weight reduction. That's really nothing at all. And the rack, it's still there. A couple bolts that'll hold that. The tires, they're great until you get real close. Then they're not so great. But there's good tires on that one. I already changed the oil. It's got good clean oil. She's ready to go. This back rack, it's on there. It's a little loose. Not worried about that. We got one flat tire, which is surprising. They all look like that. What we need to do is get this CDI off, make sure that is the problem, and go from there. First things first, let's hook up to this thing, get it towed out of this dirt pit, and over to where I can work on it a little bit easier. And stay tuned to later on in the video, because we're going to try something with the car. So, see you then. let's start by taking the front rack off. Well, that was easy. It wasn't even a bolt into it. We'll put that over to the side. Let's get these front racks off. Or not racks, the front fenders. Take the key out. Come take a look at this, how you take the ignition out. So this is just, all this is a plastic nut that's supposed to turn. And then you can take the ignition right out instead of unplugging everything, which it would be easier to do it that way instead of messing around with those corroded wires. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to go get something to take that off with. We'll put that back on so we don't lose it. Right back onto the ignition here. Okay, so we got the ignition switch out and we got the shifter handle off. So this should be able to pull right up and off now. But my headlights, they're not plug and play. So that's great, I love that. So what we're going to end up doing is just taking this whole headlight assembly right off of the fenders. So then we can just let them hang out of the way and then take the fenders right off. Now this headlight assembly should come off as long as there's no more hidden screws or what have you. And there we are, see? Oh, I guess there might have been plug and play here, but I don't think so. No, they're just hardwired into the old lights and they actually work, so we're going to leave them alone. Now that's out of the way. Now these fenders should just pop right off. Of course I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. There we go, just gotta finesse it. So there we are, there's the fenders. So now we've located our CDI. Let's get the two screws out and then figure out where our wires are going. They're coming up underneath and they're going through here. So that's one of our plug-ins here. And then here's our other one, I believe, right here. So I think that's these two. So let's take this off and find out for real where our cords are. Okay, so we got our CDI unbolted. Let's flip it up here so we get a little more room. Okay. So it's looking like, yeah, that's cool. So we got these two plugs here. There, it unplugs just like that. Okay. Oh, look at that, boy. I don't know if there's supposed to be a third prong, but there's a hole for a third prong and there's no third prong. Where would that be now? And there's not one on here either, so maybe from factory it was never there. Let's unplug this one and take a look. This one has 3. So now we got one more wire, and that's feeding all the way back in behind the steering shaft here. There's a couple little plugs here. Alright, so we get everything unplugged. That's what it looks like. It's got 2 male plugs with the red wire, the white and green, I believe, and then an orange wire is the female. And then it has one of these with the 4-prong, and then 2 with the 3-prong. To get this out, we're going to go to the parts bike. We're going to take the CDI off of that one. And even if it's not the 100% the exact same, I don't think it is. That one's even bigger than this one. But we're going to plug it up. If it plugs in the same, we're going to try it and see what happens. If not, we'll order one. And then this video might not be finished for 3 to 7 days. Yay! Over here to the parts bike. There's the CDI on this one. Completely different part number. Which would have been fine. But, well, maybe it wouldn't have been fine. But here's where the wires come up. The first 2 plugs are down here. They're the same. Those 2 bigger ones. And then these wires follow back like the other one did. Except for back here, there's only 2. There's only 2 plugs. And if you remember, the one on the other bike has 3 of those small plugs. So that's not going to work. This is the CDI on the 98 Yamaha Big Bear. And that's completely different, as you can tell. It's got 2 big plugs coming off of it. Our other ones only have a wire coming from it. So, and the plugs are completely different on this one yet again. Great. Alright, so we went over to the parts bike. Like I said, this was an 89. The parts bike is a 91. And in just 2 years, yeah, math, they completely changed the CDI box. So that one's not going to be any good to us. And the one on the 98 is completely different again. I'm going to have to order one. That's great. They don't make parts for this bike anymore. Even better. So, hitting up the old FaceBase or the eBay or Amazon. I think Amazon's got a couple identical to this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order something. And hopefully this video will actually air. Because if it does, that means we got it working. See ya. See you in like 2 seconds. Man, this thing is some rusty. Is it even worth my time? I don't know. And we're back. For you, it's been 1 second. For me, it's been at least a week. So, we got the CDI box off the old Amazon little shop there. Come take a look at this, see? Because I'm thinking it's not the same. So that's great. I love that for me. So let's open it up. It's got the same wires. I'm pretty sure it's got the same wires. As you can see, it's got the 3 ends, the 2 male, the 1 female, and the 1 square. And it should have the, yes, and it's got the other 2 right here, and they're the same. But if you take a look at the CDI boxes, there's a considerable difference. I'm not so sure that's the same. You know, it's not broke, it's not split or anything, it's a little mossed up. But what we're going to try and do, since we have the new one, I did test this, and it seems like it is working. This is the original one. So, but for now, we're going to try the new one just to see if it runs any different. We'll see if we can bolt that up. We'll only get 1 bolt into it. We got to pray that it even starts. This thing hasn't been started. Geez, I don't know, quite a long time. And like I said, it idled great, but it had 0 power. So that's what brought me to the CDI. After checking valves and everything else, you've already heard all this jazz. So we're going to skip all the boring parts here. Now we're just going to drop the bolt. That's what we're going to do. We only need 1, right? So we'll mount this into place. I'm not going to put it back together I'm just going to plug it all together and see how well it runs. So I got to grab a Phillips screwdriver. I got my Phillips screwdriver. Just tighten that down, get her plugged up into place. There, perfect. You just want to strip it every time. Love that. Alright, so now I figured how this baby plugged in together. I think it went up underneath everything. These first two would be the short ones right here. Yes. So that wants to plug in right here. That's two males, that don't work. We need a male and female here.
Plug in. Get our second connection. Goes like that, doesn't it? Okay, so we should have, yep, the rest of the water's over here on this side. And we got our two males. Let's see what colors we are. White. It's supposed to be red, I think. So that one might go there, onto the red. It's a possibility. Not sure if that plugged in. I guess we'll find out. So that one's coming over here white and green. And that is brown, so I don't know. Plug it in and see what happens. Then we got this orange going into an orange, so that does make sense. That's the only plug we got left, so then we should have one more here, the four-way. That only goes one way, get messed up, it's got a little notch there, or a triangle notch, which connects then onto this side. That plugs in.
Nice. Okay, so our new CDI is installed. I did go ahead and put in a little, come look at this battery, you're gonna laugh at this. Ordered this battery off Amazon, never looked at the dimensions. Look how tiny that is. I don't know if that's gonna roll her over. People in the comments there, when I looked at it, buying it, they said it rolled over their ATVs, so we're gonna try it out. It is 12 volt. So let's see what this baby does. So if we find her ignition, which is way down here, turn her on. As you can see, we got lights on the dash here. The light is on, she's in neutral. Let's see what it does. It's rolling. Let's see if the old baby's got some gas. Not really, and it's probably old as can be. So we'll just get some fresh fuel into her. So we got another battery hooked up to the bike, just so we don't kill that tiny little tiny kids ATV battery, whatever the hell that is. Well, she hasn't been starting in a long time, so there's that. And I mixed some dead fuel in there, so either she's gonna push through that, or it's not gonna run. We could end up draining that, putting in some fresh fuel, no big deal. Or that CDI that I ordered is not timing right with the bike or something, electrical facts and equations and shit, I don't know. so yeah, we're just gonna try it a little bit, see what happens, go from there, I guess. Rolling a little faster now. I don't think she wants to choke. So we turned the gas off. I've already got all the bolts out of this. I never put it back together last time I was working on it. So we'll take the gas line off. It was getting gas. Did you see that at first? A bunch of yellow shit. It was brown, whatever. So the gas, you know, it's a little old, right? So let's we may as well take this off real quick. Put that back on. The old Big Bear logo, seen better days. So that should be, unhook your air, the tank should come right off. So I'm going to go dispose of this fuel the correct way. So we got that drained, and I know for a fact the petcock actually works because I drained it, I dumped it out, and then I drained the rest with the petcock on. It stopped flowing. I turned it on reserve, and then and then it emptied out a little bit more, so I know it works. That's good. So now we're gonna take out this little fuel emptying bowl, screw, whatever. What the hell is that? And let this fuel out. I think that's how that works anyway. I don't know. So there should be a line for that, but it's 1989, it's gone. So we'll just let that, you know, pour all over the engine the right way. So when she gets nice and hot, might just catch her afire. Then I won't have to worry about it no more. Tighten that up a little bit, doesn't have to be over tight. And let's get some fresh fuel into this thing. Just making sure that's not clogged. Alright. You got a fire, old girl, or what? Key still on, she's still hot. Turn the gas on. Give her a couple pumps. Let her fill up. Choke on. See what happens. That was underwhelming. There we go. Come on. Come on, baby. You know you want to. Doesn't sound like she wants to. Alright, so this did run with the old CDI. Like I said, I tested it. I'm not a very good electronics person, so as you can tell. So we're gonna put the old one back on. Yeah, try that and then move on to something else, I guess. Let's get it back on the old CDI, see if it actually fires, then we'll know that's not corresponding with any of this other wiring crap and specific fires and timing and on point and stuff. So anyway, let's get that off, get that one back on, and do something else. Alright, so since my wires aren't the same color, we were just guessing. I tried them back the other way, but let's just take out the plug and see if we actually have spark. I'll see you tomorrow by the time this thread's out. Alright, so as you can tell, she's running black is rich, right? Yeah, black is rich. Bad, but this was a brand new plug and I only run it up and down the road a couple times, so that's not very great. Let's plug her in and see if we got spark. We don't. No spark at all. So let's reverse these.
See if that's gonna help her cause. Make sure they're plugged in nice and tight.
Okay, let's try it this way. So we've lost spark entirely. And that was the only two things that could have been backwards on this CDI. So I'm going to go ahead and say, we had spark before and we don't now. Let's try the old CDI and screw me. Okay, so the old CDI is back on. Let's come over here. We still got our plug out. So let's test for spark and see if that was our problem there. There you go. Can you see that? Now it's got spark. Now it'll fire. So that CDI I ordered, either it said it was for this bike. Obviously it had the same connections, the same wires, but the CDI itself, the box was bigger. Either that's a dud or the aftermarket does not actually in fact work for this bike. So anyway, let's get the plug back in and see if it's going to fire up. I know it should now. We have spark, so that's a step in the right direction. And I guarantee it's going to have the same problem as I've been dealing with. But I'm going to go ahead and just say now it's probably not the CDI. Like I said, I tested it and it seemed good. I've been thinking about it. Like I said, this has been a week. For you guys, it's only been a second, but it's been a week for me waiting for that CDI. I've been thinking about it, and I'm wondering if it's just the stupid belt on the clutch on the primary and secondary. So there is in fact an adjustment on this, which we can check that out. But first, let's just fire this up so I can be reminded that it actually does run. That would be great. Alright, so I loosened the fuel drain screw and nothing came out of it, so I took the gas line off and there was no flow. I turned it on reserve and we had flow. So I'm thinking, obviously there wasn't enough gas into it to, you know, to make fire. So let's turn this thing on reserve and try it again. Up is reserve on this. Now we should have gas flow. Let that fill up a little bit. I got my drain screw tightened down. Let's see what happens. The choke is already on. Come on, baby. See, helps when you got fuel, huh? Choke off, maybe. Oh, she wants to go. She wants to go. Little choke, maybe half choke. Half choke. And she's running, just like that. It does help when you got gas, huh? See, she takes a little throttle. Oh, she didn't like that. Let's let her run for a minute. Let her warm up a little bit. She sounds good. There's no knocking. There's no knocking or anything into her. Might have an exhaust leak right there, just maybe. She doesn't want throttle at all right now. But it idles beautifully. So it's still idling pretty good. I can give her a touch of throttle. But then she starts backfiring and it will die. So the old girl's backfiring pretty good. She's not running right. Can't rev it out at all. Like I said, I've checked timing on this. Timing was perfect. Never had to make any adjustments. The chain was tight. I went to adjust the chain, but it went right back to where it was. It's where it was supposed to. It's where it had to be. I checked the valves. I put them to spec according to Yamaha. And we just tried that CDI and that didn't work. Obviously this thing needs a lot more work anyway. Tie rod end's gone on this side, bearing's gone on that side. She needs some framework. We had no spark, we had no fire with that. We got fire and spark with this CDI. If you guys know anything about these or anything about the way it's running or sounding, to me it sounds like fuel. If you guys got any ideas or anything as to why this old girl might not be running right, let me know, because it would be nice to get this old girl back driving again. This is my old man's bike. He had this for years. But maybe she's just not worth it. I don't know. Maybe it needs a whole new motor. Maybe somebody out there in YouTube land knows something I don't. If I cover the air just a little bit, how did I do that before? Revs out a lot more. So that tells me she's getting way too much air. That comes right back to the carburetor. Now without my hand there, won't rev out at all. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's a fuel to air issue. I don't know if she needs a rebuild kit, if they even make them. I might be able to get one for it. But if it's not that, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you guys do in the YouTube land. And if you do, if you got any ideas, let me know. Maybe there's a good fix for this. Maybe there's not. Let me know what you think. I'm going to hunt around for a rebuild kit for this carburetor and maybe a little bit more information, but it sounds like to me that's carb. That's carb right there. So, and that would also explain the no power driving down the road, the backfiring, everything, blah, blah, blah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to comment down below, comment Yamaha, it's a piece of shit, it'll never be fixed. Or let me know if it can be fixed. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. That would be phenomenal. And if you made it this far in the video, leave in the comments Yamaha. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next time. Peace. But the only thing I haven't checked, I know it's foolish. It sounds crazy. But I have not checked the fuel screw setting, which is right here. I'm pointing at, that comes down, the fuel screw's right inside there. So what we're just gonna do is see where it's setting. It should be around 2.5 to start with, and then we can lessen it as we go accordingly. Now this is only gonna work if the right jet is in there. Like I said, if this is from the 91, which I'm pretty sure it is, then the jet might be different. They just kept changing crap on these bikes. I may be wrong, maybe it's whatever, but it doesn't matter. Got a carb kit coming, but let's just try this since I got time and see if it's going to run any better. Alright, so I've adjusted the fuel screw to a lot, about 3.5. So we're going to try it at 3.5 and see what it does. We'll turn our fuel on reserve and just see what happens. That's without choke. It's actually idling, kinda. But it takes no throttle. Okay, so let's back that fuel screw off a little bit. Of course it would die. That's a 1/2 turn, so now I should be at about 2.5. And it idles less. Half choke. So I played with it a little bit. I had it all the way up to 3, and it run, idled good, and took no throttle. I put it all the way back into a quarter, and it from a quarter to 1 it idled, but it would not rev out. So there's something else to do with this carb, so we're just going to wait for the carb kit to come in. Then I got to go and pick that up, and then we'll tear that carb down and rebuild it. So that'll be fun, because I've never done that before. I've taken it apart and cleaned it, but I've never rebuilt one. I'm definitely going to be learning as I go. You guys probably yelling at me I'm doing it wrong, but anyway, we'll have to see how it goes.